Hello students, as we are meeting after so long, I am going to give a summary of this chapter, whatever we have discussed in our previous class. So let's start, and we'll also cover some small topics which are remaining. So nutrition in plants basically deals with how the plants take in nutrition. As you know, energy is needed by all of us, whether they are plants or the human beings or animals. So in this chapter, we'll see that how plants take in nutrition to survive. Now here we will not only talk about green plants but also about heterotrophic plants, that is they depend on other plants or organism for their survival. So let's take a quick recap. Carbohydrates, fats, minerals, etc. are known as nutrients, and from this nutrient word we get nutrition. Both are closely related. Whatever food we consume contains certain nutrients, and in the same way, the plants consume food and it contains nutrients which is necessary for its growth. And apart from autotrophic mode of nutrition, there are heterotrophic mode of nutrition seen in plants, as we had already seen. Water, minerals and carbon dioxide are the raw materials necessary by the plants for the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process in which, with the help of sunlight, green plants prepare their food by using raw materials, and I'm again repeating the same thing. These raw materials are water, minerals and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is obtained by plants through stomata with the help of stomatas, and stomatas are nothing but the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. And water and minerals are obtained by the help of roots. There are certain vessels present in the stem of the plant which provides the necessary minerals and water to the leaves of the plants, and leaves are known as the food factories of the plant where food is prepared. Now, why do we need food? We need food to build our bodies, for the repairing of damaged body parts, etc., and for continuing important life processes, and these life processes are respiration, digestion and etc. Now, apart from photosynthesis process, another important question which is remaining in this chapter is, what is the need of sun? Now, as you know, this word photosynthesis is coming from the word by the word photons, which is the particle of sunlight, and it helps in the photosynthesis process. So without the sun, life is not possible on earth, and thus is the importance of sun. Sun is the ultimate source of energy on earth. And what are cells? Now here in this chapter only basic introduction of cell is given, which is a continuation in standard 8. So cells are nothing but the basic building blocks, we can say, from which an organism's body is made. So cells are basic building blocks. They work like bricks by which cells join with each other and a body of an organism is made. The cell is enclosed in the cell membrane. Cell membrane is nothing but the boundary of the cell, and it contains a jelly-like substance known as cytoplasm. So this was the introduction of cell for this chapter. Now let's come back to our topic. So photosynthesis process is an important process which takes place in green plants only. Now next question which is remaining in our discussion is, do only leaves prepare or contains chlorophyll and prepare food during photosynthesis? So an answer is given for this question, and it says that besides leaves, photosynthesis also takes place in other green parts of the plant, means green stem, green leaves, etc. And the desert plants have scales or spine-like structures which reduces water loss. These plants have green stems which carry out photosynthesis process. So just now we saw that photosynthesis occurs not only in leaves but also in the green plants of a plant. So what happens during photosynthesis process? A green pigment by name chlorophyll is already present in the leaves of the plant, and with this chlorophyll, in the presence of sunlight, carbon dioxide and water is mixed, a reaction occurs, and what we get is carbohydrate and oxygen. Carbohydrate is nothing but starch, which is a prepared food of the plant, and whatever oxygen is generated in this reaction is used by other organism as it is present, it is given out after the reaction, it is given out in the atmosphere. So after that, what we are going to discuss is synthesis of carbohydrate, means do plants prepare only carbohydrates or they synthesize other nutrients also. So if we are talking about carbohydrates is obtained by photosynthesis process, but apart from that, an important nutrient is there, which is nitrogen. It is present in air, that we all know, but that nitrogen cannot be used by plant in the way it uses carbon dioxide. And to solve that problem, leguminous plants are there which contains their roots contain bacteria by name rhizobium, which converts the atmospheric nitrogen into usable form. And this example we have already seen in heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So other modes of nutrition is, apart from autotrophic mode of nutrition, some plants follow the heterotrophic mode of nutrition also, and it has 4 categories. One is parasitic plants, another one is saprophytic plants, third one is symbiotic plants, and last but not the least is insectivorous plants. These all are considered as heterotrophic plants as they are dependent on other organisms, other modes to obtain their food. As we have seen in parasitic mode of nutrition, parasites are such plants which consumes all the food prepared from the body of other plant that works as an host. For example, cascata plant. As you can see in the image, cascata is the yellow colored slim. It's like a wire, you can see. And it is a parasite which consumes all the food prepared by the tree, by the leaves of the tree, and this tree works as a host as it gives the food. So in this relationship, the parasite is benefited but not the host. Another portion says that insectivorous plants are such plants which consumes insects. As the name suggests, it consumes insect, but in some cases it consumes animals and small animals and small insects. Examples are pitcher plants and Venus flytrap. What happens is the apex, that is the top part of the leaf, that pitcher, the name suggests the shape of this plant is like a pitcher, or you can compare it with vase. So what happens that the pitcher like structure is modified part of leaf, and the apex leaf forms a lid which can open and close the mouth of the pitcher. So what happens inside the pitcher, there are hair like structures directed downwards. When an insect lands in the pitcher, the lid closes and the insect gets trapped. There are certain digestive juices present in the bottom part of this pitcher plant, and as the digestive juice is secreted, the the insect body decays, and as it decays, the plant consumes the important nutrients from its body. This we have already discussed. Next is saprotrophs. Saprotrophs are such plants which depends on dead and decaying plants, which depends on dead and decaying materials. Examples are mushroom. They grow in such damp places where they get shade of the tree and small amount of light. This is the example of mushrooms which are available in markets too, and we consume it. So it is nothing but it is a kind of a fungi. Apart from saprophytic mode of nutrition, another mode of nutrition which is an important process, that is symbiotic relationship, symbiosis. Here what happens that two plants which are different from each other, they are not similar, but they coordinate with each other, they share shelter and food with each other, and both survive, both gets benefit. Example of symbiotic is lichens. It is a very important example. And apart from that, another example is leguminous plant and Rhizobium bacteria. So what happens in lichen? Lichen is nothing but a chlorophyll containing partner, which is an algae, and a fungus live together in this relationship. The fungus provides shelter, water and minerals to the algae. Algae, as it is green in color, contains chlorophyll, so it prepares food, and both the fungi and the algae gets the food, that is energy, and this relationship survives. In case of leguminous plant, what happens in the root nodules of leguminous plants means gram, peas, etc. What happens that in the root nodules of this leguminous plants, this Rhizobium bacteria is present, which gives water and minerals to which transports water and minerals to the leaves of the plant, and in return this plant provides the prepared food to the Rhizobium bacteria. As you know that once the food is prepared, the food is distributed to different organs of the plant body, and it also goes to roots, and in the roots this in the leguminous plant's root, the bacteria Rhizobium is present. Now our last topic that was remaining is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. See, whenever a plant grows, it consumes certain important nutrients for its survival, for its growth. One of the most important nutrient is nitrogen. Nitrogen can be added to the soil with the help of artificial fertilizer or by growing leguminous plants. As I said, that these leguminous plant contains Rhizobium bacteria, which provides nitrogen in usable form, and in return the plant gives food prepared to the Rhizobium bacteria. And this relation, the symbiotic relationship of Rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plant, is important for farmers. And this was all about chapter number 1, nutrition.